So our gang comes to the realization that Captain Zertes is actually a beholder. Will they force their newest party member, Shimber, the Captain Shimber, will they force Shimber to face the beholder all by himself? This and much more as I recap the finale of Captain Zertes Sunken Palace. Stay with me. For those that might be watching to get a sense of this module, let me say that our first session went through the entire palace and it was very similar to how the module was written. In this second session though, it was mostly a boss fight. And my party comprises of 6 level 11 characters. And so this module was written for 4 level 5 adventures. And, well, I needed the module to feel natural for my campaign, which is a modified version of the Rise of Tiamat. So for my game, I changed the boss from a zombie beholder to a regular beholder. And then I gave him a couple pals and dropped the escape scene. But enough of that. Now, on to the recap. So Strider finally gets the formula right as he produces a greater healing potion. He goes to share his success with his friends, only to learn that they have left without him. Strider then, taking clues from the crew of the ship, say that they're telling him they've gone down that hole, this hole that's in the middle of the water. Strider enters the strange hole in the water, and into the sunken palace he goes. In the second room of the palace, though, is a greenhouse, and Strider gets distracted as he looks and finds plants to make 3 more healing potions. Moving on from that greenhouse room, Strider finds 3 young children and Ernie, the enchanted urn. Ernie lets Strider into a mechanical room, and from there Strider finds his way to a much warmer lower level. Strider gets shocked as he enters the second room, but then sees and sneaks past some mechanical creatures working in the sublevel. Strider hears arguing as he enters the final room to find the rest of the party debating if they should throw Shimber in to face this supposed beholder all by himself. But through the conversation, through the negotiation, Shimber was able to persuade the individuals, but his influence quickly fades as he moves his focus from one individual to another person. Now, we might recall that this mission was for Shimber to find a healing stone so that he might help his brother-in-law from his petrification condition. Shimber's investigation into the stone has led him to believe that this healing stone is in the possession of this famed Captain Zertes Steele in her sunken palace. So what Shimber failed to disclose though was that Zertes is actually a beholder. Finally, after much negotiation, much arguing, Ruckus relents and agrees to enter the portal with Shimber at the same time. Begrudgingly, the rest of the party follows, and they enter this cylindrical chamber. Its floor is covered with gold coins. Its curved walls are a mirrored surface. A number of statues are in the chamber. Some I added, but a number of statues are in the chamber, including a busty female, a bipedal crocodile, a couple gladiators, and a Goliath. Most notable is a large meaty mass, though, floating in the middle of the room above a throne on the other side of the room from where they came in through the portal. Now, this floating mass has tentacles on it, flowing from it, an eyeball protruding from each tentacle. The eyes turn to see the party before the mass pivots in its entirety. In the center of the floating mass is that singular eyeball, heavily outlined in mascara, as I made this a female beholder. Below the eyes of a larger mouth, its lips heavily painted with red lipstick, and on top of it, she's wearing a pirate hat. Now, the creature greets the party in an unsteady and unnerving female voice. So if you want to see me do an impression of Mrs. Doubtfire, that's kind of the voice I was kind of channeling as I played this Beholder. You can go watch the live performance. So this female Beholder introduces herself as Captain Zertes. It becomes obvious she wants to collect them and add them to her menagerie of statues. Zertes calls a small winged elephant to her. Here, honey. And the creature flies up and nests right on top of her hat. But with that, the discussion continues as the party tries to decide if there's a diplomatic solution to this encounter. And Strider attempts, though, while this conversation is going on, Strider attempts to check out a treasure chest. But as he looks at it, it turns out to be a mimic, and it attacks. But my guys are loving them, and this little mimic doesn't do any real harm. So, and Zertes calls out to the mimic, say, "Hey, calm down," and it does. The party spreads out throughout the room as the conversation is, as they're leery of many of the statues that Zertes seems to be including her conversation. Now, Shimber at one point sings a song to Zertes, and this song describes how his brother-in-law was in search of a stone of galore, but was caught stealing it from a Xanathar. So Xanathar, the Beholder, crime lord of Waterdeep, petrified his brother-in-law into a statue. Coming in search of the brother-in-law, Shimber and his wife Matilda were told that Xanathar would release the curse on the brother-in-law if they would return to Xanathar if they would go seek out Zertes, kill the Beholder, chop off her petrification stock, and return it to Xanathar, as this Beholder Zertes seems to be a long lost lover of Xanathar. So Zertes thought that this was a wonderful and hilarious song. Zertes, the Beholder, thought she was funny, and she floated up to Shimmer and attempted to give him a long lick, and asked if he would mind taking off his shirt. Shimmer refused, of course, and tensions grew. Gloin, our Grolgark, the young dragon, Gloin, couldn't take it anymore, and turned himself into that young dragon, and blasted Zertes with his fire breath. Now, this fire breath killed the Hollyphant, this pet that Zertes had, and Zertes was quite furious, and she blasted them with first a disintegration ray and then later a death ray. The battle was made even more challenging as the cylinder. I said that Zertes had floated 120 feet up in the air, and a lot of people had to deal with that one way or another with their spells, and also with the anti-magic cone floating from certain people to certain people. So it complicated the whole encounter. Now finally, Shimber hit the Beholder Zertes with a synaptic static that gave the final blow and finally took down Zertes, the Beholder. Now, Zertes falls from 120 feet above and splats to the ground, but as she does, the very floor they're walking on, that's covered in gold coins, starts to quiver, and the gold starts to sink lower and lower and through a grate on the floor and into the sea below. Most players grab a handful of coins just before those coins fall to the sea below, but most of the coins are gone. But there are a couple chests and a variety of items that are likely magical. Quite a few, actually. But also the statues didn't fall into the sea. And one of those statues was actually a Goliath with the same physical traits as Varinka. At one point, Zertes acted as an intermediary, and Varinka learned the name of this Goliath statue, whose name was Narthak. Narthak also has a branding of a slave on his shoulder, and was apparently sent here by his owner Xanathar with another venturing party looking to take down Zertes, and that party was not quite as fortunate as our party. At the end of the battle, glowing cast a greater restoration, and now Narthak was transformed from a statue back to a living, breathing Goliath. Now, with all of the loot gathered, they put the tiles back into place and would re-enter the Sunken Palace. Now, I intend to put out another video. I'll probably put that out before Thursday, going through the magical items that were found in this treasure. I will also say, as I was putting this together, as I was going through that treasure, I started to wonder about this bag of holding. And you might recall that we recently just defeated a dragon, and they got copious amounts of golds. And I tell you, I thought all that gold was also in this bag. And we had quite the chat. I gave him quite a scare in a text message group conversation, because I said that bag of holding would have collapsed. But they quickly straightened me out. Saying that the gold was actually indeed in chests and on the ship. And so, okay, I relent. And so, but I still owe the going through the magic items that are in this chamber, and I got enough, and I think it'll fill up another video. So stay tuned to the channel for that video coming soon. Now, before I wrap, please, thank you for watching, and if you don't mind, please hit that like button and like and subscribe if you haven't already. So now what? I decide that Olak, our party's engineer, is the only one with half a chance of knowing what the Sunken Palace really is, a submarine, right? And that would be only because of his Modron Mini. Will our party take the time to free this Sunken Palace, this submarine, and try to figure out how to make it work? As lamented during our game, our adventurers have accepted many quests, and what might the new NPC Narthak contribute to the story? I don't know, right? All that and more next Thursday on Dave's Imaginations presents Dark Queen Ascension: The Fallen. Take care.